Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men The Age of Apocalypse Wave 2 Colossus Build-A-Figure. This is Shadowcat. So we are getting close to the end of the wave. Before we get into the review, big shout out to ToySnowman.com. They are based in Canada. This is where I picked up the wave from and they shipped out to me. So ToySnowman.com, I'll have a link in the video description below to my referral link, which gets you a 5% off coupon so you can order it and then save yourself 5%. Why not? Please keep in mind that ToySnowman.com is based in Canada, so the prices that you see on their website are Canadian dollar, which is not the same as US dollar, so that is why they look higher priced, but they are essentially about the same as retail for the US dollar amount. So again, referral link in the video description below to save you 5%, get you a 5% coupon. But Shadowcat, here she comes with the Colossus Build-A-Figure, the torso piece. She has the claws similar to Logan's or Wolverine's Weapon X, and then she has a pair of fists. So out of the package, she's got one right open hand, she's got a holding hand in her left. We'll get right to it. X-Men logo, the Age of Apocalypse, Build-A-Figure Colossus there in the top corner. There is Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde or Catherine Pryde there, looking very cool. Here on the back of the package, there is a look at that same artwork. Her bio reads, after being captured by Sabretooth, Catherine Pryde becomes the youngest member of the X-Men and trains to become the team's ghost assassin, trained by Weapon X, I might add there. Which is why the claws. I'm thinking, why does she have the claws in like Wolverine, but not Wolverine? That's because he trained her. So here we go. Let's get it out of the package and let's take a look. It's pretty interesting looking. There's some weird things, but she probably comes with the most accessories out of the figure, so that's cool. Okay, so here's the Shadowcat figure out of the package, and yeah, there's really not a whole lot going on for it. It's kind of a typical female figure. Limited articulation and, you know, some of those things. The overall look of the figure is pretty good. I think the face sculpt is something to talk about a little bit, and as we get closer, we'll kind of discuss it. You know, when we first saw images of the Age of Apocalypse Wave 2, when it was first revealed, they were all digital renders. So we saw how the face looked on the digital render, and now the actual product in hand, it's not quite the same. I don't think it's super far off, but it's definitely a little different. And of course, those digital renders are always going to look better. That's just the nature of it, because it's done on a computer and everything. And there's no actual molding applied to it. You know, it's not practical, real world how it looks. But with that said, it does look a little bit different. But let's get in close to take a look at that. But first, Colossus Build-A-Figure, we have the torso here, and this dude looks all beefy, so we're going to stick that off to the side. Interchangeable accessories. So out of the package, she actually had these hands on the figure. So the right hand is this open hand with her fingers out. Left hand is this holding hand. There, we get these gauntlet pieces. These were actually on the figure already, but I switched it out for the claws, as you could see. But these are done nicely. It's done in a dark metallic silver gunmetal grayish color, and the sculpt is nice. You can see where the claws pop out and everything. So those actually look really good. I'm glad that they went with the paint and didn't do the cheap ass gray plastic that I absolutely hate, like with Sabretooth, for instance. If you watch that video, this dull gray plastic sucks, but this silver paint there on the back of the hand looks awesome, but I hate when they do this gray. So this figure actually gets that painted metallic color, so that is awesome. So let's take a closer look at her now. Okay, and here is Shadowcat, and again, I don't know what it is with some of the female figures. They always are super high on the neck. Like, you can actually, from the side, see a little bit of gap between the neck and the head. So it's kind of unfortunate. But there's the head sculpt. Now, I don't think it looks bad. I think they should have either gone with a closed mouth, or maybe her lips a little bit further apart, just because it kind of looks a little odd. You know, if they did some kind of other expression or something would make more sense, or if they went with like the artwork that's on the back of the box. She's actually smiling back there. If we can get that to focus, it doesn't want to focus back there. But she's actually smiling in the artwork, but on the figure, she's not. She's just kind of there with a blank expression with her mouth a little open, and I think that's just what kind of looks a little bit odd. The hair seems really light in color also. I think maybe if it was a little bit darker, it would have been better, but it's not a bad head sculpt. So I don't want to, you know, sit here and say all this and that, but it's not, it doesn't look, it really doesn't look bad. So, you know, don't get the wrong impression there. We get this little jewel that is sculpted on there. Looking at the rest of the figure. She's got pinless knees, by the way. Single jointed elbows, so of course those are going to be pinless. But, you know, nothing really new there. But we get these new legs here. Actually, these legs might not be new. I need to see if they're the same as Lady Deathstrike. I'll take a look at that. But here we have her X-Men belt, and again, it's painted with this nice gunmetal gray silver on there. That looks really good. And then the black and red X, that came out nice and clean. The claws look really nice. I like the way they look. It's all very cool. All these lines and everything are actually sculpted on the arms. That's not just like paint or anything like that. That's actually molded into the sculpt. But yeah, looks pretty good. So now let's zoom out for her articulation. Okay, so Shadowcat's articulation, she can't look down that much. She can look up a little bit, but the hair, even though it's not really long, it does really hit the back of her neck there, so you can't really get her to look all the way up. You get some crazy head pivot and everything going on in there because she is actually on the new style dumbbell joint. So no disc hinge there. Shoulders, you can get the shoulders to go up that high. You get full rotation, of course. Single jointed elbow, so you have a swivel at the elbow, and you have a single joint, so it gives you a little bit more than 90 degrees. That looks pretty good. Wrist swivel, and they have the standard hinge. The other thing to these claw pieces also can rotate around the arm. So you want to pull the hand off, and then you can, get the claws. You can slide them onto the wrist like so. And then the same with these, the gauntlet pieces there. You can just slip it on, and then you can change out the hand. So like so. So that's out of the package. That's the look that you're going to get. She has a diaphragm joint, so typical female figures all have that. She can pivot to her left that much. She can pivot to her right that much. She can go back a little bit, coming forward. Not really a whole lot there. And then you get the swivel at that diaphragm joint because there's no waist swivel on the figure. It's the same for female figures. Legs go out that far apart. She can kick forward pretty high, as you can see there. Leg does go back a tiny bit. Upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed knee, and that works out really well. Again, pinless knee. No calf swivel or boot swivel or anything like that. Foot hinges all the way down. A little bit of up, not a whole lot. Ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. I think I just looked at images of the Lady Deathstrike figure, and yes, the legs look to be about the same. So now let's see Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde next to some other figures. First up for the side-by-side comparisons, here we have the Juggernaut Wave Kitty Pryde figure. So Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, Catherine Pryde, whatever you want to call her. Seems to be a big year for her because we have this Shadowcat figure. We have the Excalibur 3-pack Shadowcat figure that's going to come out this year or next year. I guess it's kind of confusing on what it's going to be. I think they say next year, but I think a lot of those dates are intentionally pushed out to curb expectations on and prevent delays and whatnot. You might get your figure early. That's awesome. Instead of like a massive delay with everything that's going on in the world. And then we have the Marvel Unlimited Annual Plus subscription kit exclusive, the Captain Catherine Pryde or Kitty Pryde. How did they word it? I think it was Captain Kitty Pryde or just Captain Pryde. That figure, which is basically this figure, a little bit of different paint, and then she has like the silk mask thing. So lots of Kitty Pryde figures coming out. So that is pretty cool. She's a lot shorter here because she's younger, but I would have think that Kitty Pryde is always, I think for the most part, younger in the comics, right? But this one is definitely taller, as you can see. She's got legs are a little bit longer, but the torso is definitely a little bit more elongated in comparison. Okay, Kitty Pryde with Weapon X Wolverine. What sucks is this has these beautiful looking claws. I mean, look at the gunmetal gray silver that they're painted. Just looks fantastic, metallic, very cool. And then this Weapon X gets the shitty end of the stick with the terrible claws that are just super dull, almost translucent, because they're so just generic and cheap looking. And then the same for the other hand where he lost his hand. It's the same thing. It's the crap gray plastic, the molded gray plastic. They try to use a color that is kind of shiny to make it look metallic, but I just think it looks really cheap. But this these are done so nicely, and then this one's just done not well, like at all. That's unfortunate. But there the two of them are together. Now let's see Shadowcat along with the rest of the figures from the wave that I've reviewed. Okay, so here so far are all of the figures in the wave that I have reviewed. Looks like we only got one more, which is going to be the Iceman figure before we get into the Colossus Build-A-Figure video itself. But the wave, again, looking pretty good, but again, Cyclops still ends up at the bottom. Kitty Pryde, for me, is actually going to be a little bit higher up. She's probably my number 3, probably number 4 favorite figure of the wave so far. Iceman's probably going to throw off that ranking a little bit, but when I get to the Colossus Build-A-Figure video, I will do a little bit of a ranking for you guys to see kind of where each figure stands for me in my own personal opinion. Okay, solid figure. I think it's a good release. Lots of Shadowcat coming out here in the near future. Definitely a decent figure, not the worst figure by any means. She comes with the torso piece. Usually tends to be female figures that do that. I think it's definitely a solid pickup. You guys let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts on the Kitty Pryde, or Shadowcat figure are. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.